Hi, everyone. It's Melissa from Gilda's Club Grand Rapids. I hope that we find you well and staying safe and having a great summer. And I always like to talk about the weather. Here I am. And it's just been incredible out. And I hope that you're all getting outside and spending some time relaxing and taking it easy. I'm so glad that we could come together in our virtual clubhouse and stay connected this way. We also want you to know that our clubhouse is open and we are having in-person groups. If you have been in a group before and you haven't been back to Gilda's and you'd like to come back, just give us a call. Or if you're new to a cancer or a grief journey and you don't even know about Gilda's Club and you'd like to learn more about our free support grief and or cancer and grief support program, we'd love to talk with you. Just give us a call at 453-8300 or look on our website, gildasclubgr.org. So we have a topic today that we wanted to let you know that can be some heavy content. And we're encouraging you that if you're watching today or if you're watching later, this is being recorded, that you just take really good care of yourself. If you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling like this is hard to listen to, we encourage you to take a break, turn it off, go take a walk outside, get a drink of water or something, come back to it later. This is being recorded, like I said, and you can watch it anytime you would like. Please take good care of yourself. We also are going to list all of the resources in the Grand Rapids area, not necessarily Kent County, but the Grand Rapids area for substance use recovery and support for families who are struggling with that or individuals, and also the suicide hotline and suicide support in Kent County. And we encourage you to reach out and ask for help and not stay alone on this journey, but to stay in contact with your community. There are people here to help. So also, if you're watching this and we'd like to know you're watching this, give us a thumbs up. If you feel like this is important and helpful content, we'd love for you to share this. And also, again, it's being recorded. It'll be on our YouTube channel, it'll be on our website, and it will be on our Facebook page. And you can watch it as many times as you'd like. Today we have a very special guest with us. Her name is Kelly Fox Johnson, and she is a mother of 3. She's also a member here at Gilda's Club. She has been a fierce advocate for families and individuals who struggle with substance use disorder. Kelly wants you to know that she does not have a degree or a specialty training in substance use deaths. But what she brings to the table is her lived experience. She has offered to come today to talk with us about her experience with her son and substance use death. And we're so grateful that she is willing to do this. She also brings with her the research that she has done, community contacts that she has made, and the healing that she has done herself. So welcome, Kelly. It's great to have you here.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone. As Melissa said, my name is Kelly. I'm coming to you with personal experience. Like she said, it is not formalized training, but it is definitely knowledge that I've obtained, research that I've done, but most of all, it is some deep, heartfelt empathy for what you are all going through, and I'm hoping that it will be beneficial to you. I want to start out by saying I have many titles. I have a worker, I'm a spouse, I'm a friend, I'm a sister, but most of all, I'm a mom. And that is always been a very important role for me. I have always taken pride in being a mom, and going through the death of my son Matthew has changed me in a way that I'm sure you've heard before. There's a before and an after. So I want to just start with one title that I actually told to someone in my family 2 days ago. And it's a special quote, and it's simply, "It's okay to not be okay." I know we want people to think that we're okay, but it's okay to not be okay. And I repeat that to myself a lot. It's just a favorite quote that kind of brings me back to reality. So I want to talk about the experience both before and after the death of my son, and the effects that it's had both internally on myself, my family, and my friends. So my son had an addiction. His addiction was to heroin, and it went on for about 3 years. And the thing to remember is that it not only affects the addict, but it affects the whole family. It affects family dynamics. It affects friends, co-workers. It is a disease that is all consuming. So when Matthew was in active addiction, we journeyed with him as much as we could. But ultimately, I have learned that it is the person's responsibility to take charge and really want to beat this disease. There is always encouragement, always support and love that can be offered. But there's a difference between support and enabling, and there's a fine line there, and it's sometimes hard to draw that line. So I first want to talk about some statistics here, that addiction is a brain disorder. It's a disease. It does not just include heroin. It's other substances, alcohol, benzos, other types of things. And these make semi-permanent changes in your brain synapses. So the more you use, the part of your brain that helps you make reason out of things, think clearly, and make decisions, it is affected. It is changed. It's not something that just is affected while you are using the substance. It interprets your thoughts, your judgments, your actions at all times. Even after you have stopped using, or your loved one has stopped using, it can take up to 2 years for the withdrawal symptoms to cease and that person to go back to a regular baseline. During active addiction, it takes more and more of the substance to allow them to feel normal, not high, but normal. And so more and more is needed. Withdrawal symptoms often, which are not pleasant, cause the person to often relapse, because there is the thought process of I need this in my system or I am not going to make it. I need this to feel normal. So it took me a while to realize that this is a disease. This is not something that a person chooses to use and to continue to be an addict. No one grows up wanting to have this title. No parent, mom, wants to have a loss of someone due to any disease. But this disease sometimes can seem worse because there is judgment. Sometimes there is not. And those are your support people. But there is people around you that may not be able to give you the support that you need. And it's really important to find that person or persons that are there for you. Again, it's okay to not be okay. So it helps to have a support system. It helped me during the addiction, and it helped me tremendously after the death of my son. So I just, within my family dynamic, I have the 3 children. My son was my middle child. It not only affects the child and their parents, it affects the other siblings. I have an older daughter and a younger daughter that their childhoods were affected, or teen years affected. Some of their behaviors were used to compensate or to be able to handle what was going on in the family, which I think is very normal. People will say, your family is so strong. How did your family get through this? You are so strong. You handled this great. I didn't have a choice. This choice was given to me, and I had to embrace it in order to go on, because I had my life, I had my family and friends, and I needed to go on because my son would have wanted me to go on. Big question that I used to ask all the time, and I know it's come up in counseling sessions also, is what did I do? What did I do as a parent to cause this? What went wrong? What was that exact moment that my child decided, or my loved one decided, to make a decision to try a substance and then become addicted and go on with that? It chose them. They may have made a first decision, but the disease of addiction chooses them, and they don't want to be in that position any more than we want them to be. My son would say to me, Mom, if you don't hear from me for a while, I'm in a bad spot, track me down. Where I used to kind of think in the back of my head, well, I haven't heard from Matthew, he must be doing good. And he was honest with me and told me, I'm not. If I am not in contact with you, I'm not doing well. So I was able to at least have a guideline. I knew of my son's addiction that not everyone maybe was aware. And I could be there for him as much as I could, or as much as he would allow me to. I could learn things, I could do my research, I knew what I was dealing with. Didn't change anything. Matthew spent time clean. He went 8 months without using, and the term dry drunk came up. And he said to me, "That's exactly what I am, Mom. I'm a dry drunk." I said, "Well, what is that?" "Well, I'm not using right now. I have no plans to use, but I am not actively doing anything to prevent myself from using or having a relapse." And the more I thought of that and encouraged him to go to meetings and that sort of thing, therapy, he was in patient a couple of times. It was his decision to make. And I stood by and had to support that. And he overdosed twice before he finally OD'd and passed away. And the first time he actually called me on the phone in the middle of the night and said, "Mom, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry I'm at the hospital. I overdosed. I'm so sorry." And my thought was, he's suffering as much as I am. I'll be there for you. So off we went in the middle of the night to the hospital. It happened again when he was in a sober living facility. He had gone out looking for a job, smuggled the heroin back in, and it happened right at a safe, quote, facility. So it's not your fault. I've finally convinced myself of that. He didn't want it. I didn't want it. The whys, why did this happen? What occurred? There is no answer to that. And I've had to come to terms with that. I would give anything to have a journal, a letter, something. But then I realized that all in all, that wouldn't change anything. Matthew is still gone. I still have grief. And the grief will remain forever. It has changed me. It doesn't discriminate. Both grief and addiction do not. The tough thing for me was that life moves on for everyone else. I may be counting the days and the hours since I last saw my son, but other people, after the dust settles, if you will, they continue to go on with their lives. They have families, they have other friends, they have jobs and responsibilities. And I was told many times, I don't want to bring up Matthew's name or talk about Matthew because that'll make you think about him. Believe me, I'm thinking about him every minute. So to hear the stories, to talk about your child, that's what makes me feel better. People will say a story about someone in their family, and I'll bring up my son. The last time I was on the jet ski with my son, so on and so forth, just like anyone else would. The pictures on my desk at work, they include my son too. I hold him in my heart forever, but sometimes life still feels like it stands still for me. Those that experience loss, sometimes it will seem like it was yesterday, and I'm reliving the whole process of his death. Other times, it seems like it's been forever. It will be 5 years this September. It's a long time, but not in the grand scheme of things. It does. It still hurts. It hurts tremendously. And I've experienced envy of my friends with their families, comments that are made, not blatantly to hurt me or to put Matthew down, but they're just comments that normal people make. Example, we're having our family pictures taken this year. I can't wait. We're all picking out our outfits to do our family pictures, and oh, it's so hard to get everyone to decide. I'll never have a family picture again with Matthew. Or I miss my child so much. They've gone away to college and I haven't seen them for a couple of weeks. I can't wait till they're coming home on Thanksgiving. My son isn't coming home. Those little comments that people make, not realizing what they say, I'm envious of them. But I'm also at a place where I'm understanding that their life is gone on, and it's my responsibility to make sure that they remember Matthew and to remember others that have passed away from this horrible, horrible disease that is continuing to grow. It's not getting any better. It's getting worse. So I have been in counseling. I also have a support group of people that I know I can turn to. Not everyone is able to do that for you. They can be very uncomfortable. I will talk about Matthew and someone will change the topic. Or I will talk about him to my sister and she'll chime in with a story. We'll laugh and cry together. Still. My therapist and I used to joke that I pay a lot of money for a best friend. And I've gone from going once a week to twice a week to every other week, back to twice a week. And to me, that's okay because I'm dealing with what I need to deal with. And everyone handles this differently. Everyone does. Some days are better than others. Some days are horrible. And in the beginning, I continued to be very, very busy. I didn't want to be alone with my thoughts. I didn't want to be home where Matthew had passed away. I wanted to be going, going, going. I know others are more of, I just got to get through the day and I want to be home and I want to be alone. Everyone is different, and that can be between spouses, between your parents, between siblings. Everything is different. And that can be another struggle, is because someone that you thought was a great and reliable and could help support you may not be your person. It may take a while to find that person for yourselves, but don't give up, because that person, whether it be a group, a therapist, a friend, a spouse, whatever, it really helps to be able to talk through and go through some of this. So There's hope for healing, but you never get over your loss. Just as anyone can tell you that's gone through grief, there's a before and there's an after. And they're not the same because you're not the same. In your heart, you are missing a loved one. There may be many emotions, from sadness to anger to confusion, and they're all present and they're all okay to have. You need to take care of yourself. Everyone talks of self-love. It's not just going to get a pedicure or, going out for dinner. It's taking care of yourself by journaling, having that support person, talking about your child. I have a special sign for my son. It's a star. And whether it's an object star or a star in the sky, it makes me think of Matthew. Not that I don't at other times, but I share that with people. There was one star in the sky as I walked into your home. I think Matthew wants to say hi to us. That type of thing. And it can be anything, whatever works for you, if anything. Let's see, I have some notes, so I'm going to look and make sure that I've covered a few things here. I think I've touched on pretty much what I want to do. The thing that I have another quote that I often say both to myself or I will say to others, that growth is painful. Moving on is painful. But change is painful. But nothing is as painful as staying stuck where you do not belong. Where you do not belong is individual also for each of us. You don't belong to be in sadness, but you won't ever forget your loved one. You don't want to. You don't want others to. It's a loss that is there, that has many questions that are unanswered. Many, many people do not understand this, or they don't want to understand. But just remember that it is okay to not be okay, but take care of yourself and find that person or resource that's going to help you deal with grief the way you are meant to, the way that works for you, and the way that you are comfortable with.
Thank you, Kelly. I so
You are
appreciate that. Beautiful wisdom. And I think about, and I'm not sure if my voice is better, my audio is kind of funky, but is that I don't know. So here at Gilda's Club, we have a substance-related grief group that's specific to people that have had a substance-related death. And so it is a group that talks about this process of before and then after, because there's as all of you know, if you've been on this kind of a journey, and as you talked about, Kelly, is that there is a lot that happens before a person dies in a substance related death. And so it's a place where you can really explore and talk about that. And someone in the group, and it may have been you, Kelly, but said, when my son was alive, we were all suffering. Everyone in the family was suffering.
Yes.
And at least, and this is that piece of hope, at least now he's not suffering any longer.
Right.
And I thought there's just a lot of wisdom in that, that as humans, we're meaning seekers. We want to make meaning out of our experiences. And sometimes it's hard to make meaning out of this experience. It, as you said, it leaves more questions than it does answers. And working through these pieces of regret and guilt and where does the responsibility lie? Those are important things to work through, that you need someone to help you work through those. You know, that this is not a journey we suggest taking alone, that you need a companion, a trusted person, people, group, therapist, someone who you can lean into and heal with. And I love that you said that grief walks with you. That you're never not on a grief journey. And we often tell people here at Gilda's Club, we have good news and bad news. Is the bad news is once on a grief journey, always on a grief journey. That we're not able to change that experience. But the good news is that it won't always be so intense all the time. And that we look for three words: intensity, duration, and frequency. And the hope is that those get further and further apart and shorter, those intense times, but you still will have those intense times. That still will happen. But you will be able to function again. You'll be able to hold a job, socialize, talk about your child, talk about your person, celebrate their life again, which I heard you doing, Kelly, is just celebrating Matthew's life.
We do. We really do.
Yeah. Then some wise words I heard also from another member is her son died at 27, and she said, I believe fully that he lived a full life in those 27 years. And that is the way that she organizes around knowing that he won't see 30 or whatever, but that she feels like he had a full life. And that helps her. So I love that you talked about using what works for you, that is a healthy expression, that is a healthy experience for you, what works for you and how that feels good to you. So, yeah. Thank you so much, Kelly. Really, really appreciate you sharing your heart, you sharing Matthew with us and your experience, and all the wisdom and beauty that you bring with that. So thank you very much.
You're very welcome. No one wants to be in this situation, but hopefully my empathy, you all know that it is with you always.
Very sweet. Thank you. And again, if you are experiencing this kind of a journey, please reach out to us. We would love to connect with you and talk with you and help you get resourced, bring you into our free support program. If you are struggling with substance use and you'd like information, we are posting on this program some resources here in Grand Rapids, in the area. If you are a family member of a person who is struggling with substance use, we're also putting some resources for you on there. And if you're struggling with feeling like hurting yourself or suicidal thoughts, which often come with substance use disorder, or feeling completely overwhelmed with this experience, we're also posting some resources for that. We want you all to know that you are not alone, that we are here to walk with you through this experience. So again, take good care of yourself. Love the denotation of that also that Kelly talked about, not self-indulgence, self-care. Self-care sometimes is getting to therapy, is getting support, is reaching out and talking with someone. I would say that sometimes always. Let's just use the word always there. So we encourage you to do that. We thank you all so much for watching today and being with us. And if you have any questions, let us know. Thank you again, Kelly. We encourage everyone to take care, get outside, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks. All right.